Foggy Mountain Breakdown lessons on YouTube, but many of them try to charge you for tablature, don't really provide much detail, or go too fast. In this video, I hope to provide my viewers with everything that they'll need to play Foggy Mountain Breakdown well and with confidence. I'll describe all the techniques used, and I'll provide practice tracks in different speeds so that you can practice after you've learned. Let's get started. First thing you're going to need is a 5-string banjo. In standard tuning, open G, which is G, D, G, B, D. Secondly, you're going to need some finger picks, a thumb pick, a forefinger pick, and a middle pick. Foggy Mountain Breakdown begins with a series of pinches. During these pinches, you're going to fret the B string first, not at all, then at the first fret, and then at the second fret. This is the easiest part of Foggy Mountain Breakdown, and it's also the beginning, so that works out well. When I do these pinches, I'm touching the G string, the D string, and the B string. That is the kickoff to many classic bluegrass songs, Foggy Mountain Breakdown included. After the series of pinches, you go into a special roll called the Foggy Mountain Roll. It's a little bit counterintuitive in some ways and can be difficult to get the hang of. But once you do, it's pretty easy. For the Foggy Mountain Roll, you'll begin by picking the B string with your pointer finger. Then you'll hit the D, the high D string, with your middle finger. Then you'll hit the B string again, but this time you bring your thumb all the way from the high G where it lives to the B string. And then you hit the D string again with your middle finger. And then, standard forward roll. Here's what it sounds like with the left hand in action. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? All I'm doing is hammering on from the 2nd to the 3rd fret the first 2 times I hit the B string. Continuing along throughout the song, you do this roll twice. The 3rd roll starts like that one, but ends differently. Here's that last roll. It begins the same as the others, and it continues like them until you hit the high G string. Here it is up until that point. By the time you hit the high G string, you should already have moved your pointer and middle fingers over to the same position on the G string. After you hit the high G string with your thumb, you'll hit the open B string with your pointer finger. Then you'll hit the high D string with your middle finger. Then you'll hit the low G string with your thumb and pull off from the 3rd to the 2nd fret. Then hit the high D string again with your middle finger. And finally, hit the low D string with your thumb. Open. This can be difficult to master because it doesn't really musically make sense until you play it so many times that it seems like it belongs there. The pull-off, particularly, doesn't seem to make much sense, but just bear with me and practice it as I showed it there, and before long it'll make sense to you. Again, here's what we have so far. Before we move on to the E minor slide, there's a very small but important roll that we need to get under our belts. Here it is. As you can see, it's very simple. It involves the 2 G strings and the high D string. Thumb on the high G, middle on the low G, middle finger on the high D, and pointer finger on the low G. Anyone who's played much banjo before knows that the E minor chord is just fretting both of the D strings at the 2nd fret. We're going to begin our pattern by fretting both of the D strings at the 1st fret. Doesn't sound so great, does it? Don't worry, we're going to be sliding those out to the 2nd fret almost immediately. That's what the E minor slide will sound like when we get it done. It's pretty intuitive, actually. It's not a very hard part to learn. Begin by hitting the low D string at the 1st fret, slide it up to the 2nd fret, then starting with the high D string, work your way down. And that's middle finger, pointer finger, thumb. Next, hammer on the low D string at the 2nd fret. Work your way up. That's thumb, pointer, middle, thumb, middle. That was up and down. Work your way up in pitch, then down. As you work your way down, you'll use your middle, pointer, and thumb. It's kind of like a forward-backward roll. Altogether, again, that sounds like this. After the E minor slide, you do a very special lick. It's called the G lick, and it's used in almost all bluegrass banjo music. So if you've heard bluegrass, you've heard a lot of it. Here's what it sounds like all put together. And here's what it sounds like with the E minor slide. The G lick has to be done a very specific way, or it's very hard to play it quickly. So let me show you what it is. You'll begin by hitting the middle G string, low G, middle string with your thumb. Then you'll hit the high D string with your middle finger. And then the high G string with your thumb. Here's where it gets a little confusing. After you do that, you hit the low G string with your pointer finger. Of course, I haven't used my left hand here. When that's all put together, it'll sound like. But just working on the right hand technique right now. After you hit that low G string with your pointer finger, you'll hit the high D string with your middle finger. Then back to the low G string with your pointer. Then you'll hit the low D string with your thumb. Then high D string with your middle finger. And then you'll hit the G string, the low G string that you have been hitting with your pointer finger with your thumb. Fortunately, there isn't much left hand work to be done with the G lick. all of it involves your middle finger, so you're not doing more than one thing at a time. It's pretty easy. You're going to start out with everything open. But by the time you hit that high G string, you're going to want to have the low G string fretted at the 2nd fret. After you pluck at the 2nd fret, you're going to slide up to the 3rd fret. So here's what that sounds like. After you slide it to the 3rd fret, go ahead and remove your middle finger from that string and place it at the 2nd fret on the low D string. After you pluck the low D string, fretted at the 2nd fret, you're going to be moving to the low G string, so you can remove it to get ready for the next thing, but you're not going to be using that string again. Here's what we've got up to this point. You may be a little tired of learning this break by now, but don't worry, it gets easier and faster from here on out because the next huge chunk of the song is stuff that we already know. We're just going to add our transitional roll, another E minor slide, and 2 G licks. Well, the second one's slightly modified. That 2nd G lick sounds like this. The only thing that I'm doing differently is hitting the open D string at the end instead of the open G string. So instead of, it's not much of a difference. Anyway, once you get that incorporated, here's what our song sounds like. The song continues to incorporate things that we've already learned. After our 2 G licks, the song goes on to revisit the Hammerons from the very beginning. However, it's a little different this time. The first of our rolls looks like this, which is just a little bit different from the that we learned at the very beginning. The new roll doesn't require you bringing your thumb all the way up to the B string. Here, let's look at it a little slower. Basically, it's just a forward roll. You start on your pointer finger on the B string and hammer on. Go to the middle finger, then the G string, and do a full rotation through. Again, those same fingers, no hammer on. After that, it's back to exactly what we saw in the beginning, with the addition of a G lick at the end. So when you hit that low G at the end of the hammer-on rolls, that is the beginning note of a G lick. And once you get the G lick in, that is the end of the first break of Foggy Mountain Breakdown. Let's play it through. Once you have this down, you are good to go for impressing your friends. I hope you've enjoyed this first lesson on the first break of Foggy Mountain Breakdown. If you've enjoyed it, keep your eyes peeled for a video on the second break, which will come out soon. My simplified version of the second break is easy to learn and fun to play.